Hello, Barack Van Zeeks here, prosecutor extraordinaire. You are listening to Naked Spaghetti, and you are watching it as well. Because if you were just listening to this, you probably wouldn't understand what's going on, and I would feel for you. But I wanted to welcome all of you back for another exhilarating adventure, where we're going to be finding out who killed somebody in an omnibus. And I'm going to take down that defense lawyer, and I'm going to make sure that that jury all gets guilty again, and we're not going to go through that whole damn process again, especially when the aide starts talking like Homestar Runner, because we don't need that. But joining us on the witness stand is, we've got Sylph, we've got Mooney, and we've got Circus and Chris all with us today. And so sit back, relax, and enjoy the trial, as we say around these parts. And then if you want to join us for the after party, you can all come to my mansion. My husband and my wife have got different assortments of wine that you can drink. I've got a vampire concerto. They're going to be playing all different types of Beethoven and Mozart. You'll be in for a good ride.
Damn whippersnappers. Swear these goddamn children have no respect of the elderly today. I'll hush, Grandma, before we put you back in home. Fuck you.
Here we go. I will be playing all of Ghosty's roles.
Okay.
Witnesses. I trust you heard the summation examination we have just had to endure.
Sure, whatever you Dracula wannabe bitch.
I take that very...
Sir. I did so.
Of course, I heard.
Oh, yes, sir. I heard it.
You, sir, on the end. The coachman. I believe it's Beppo.
Yes, sir. My lord, sir.
Get somebody some.
Get him some Campbell's.
Or get him close to these two fire things.
Two flames, you mean? The flames of justice?
Yeah. That's right. I could use some flames of justice, please. If it transpires that in your previous testimony you were attempting to veil the presence of a fifth passenger on your omnibus, you will be found guilty of perjury. You are advised to bear that in mind, sir.
Oh, mio Dio. That's so...
That's how you know he's Italian. Beppo is now the mascot for Naked Spaghetti. Now then, witnesses, I hereby call on you to testify before the court again. You will explain the various misgivings brought to our attention by the defense's summation examination.
Ah, shit.
I hope I can get this right.
Why are you always looking at me?
I only carried 4 passengers that night. I swear it.
Well, I've been told that to pay 5 piece for the bus.
He fiddled us out on the fare, he did. And then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much.
Well, I told you, I saw Mr. McGill stabbing that man. Every time I said before stands.
Oh, yes, yes. He stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so. Yes.
You think?
Like, I don't know. I'm such a dumbass driver.
Sounds like an Adam Sandler character.
Yeah, you're damn right. Oh, trust me,
gosh.
there will be no mention of Adam Sandler in this courtroom, not with my presence here. Counsel, make sense of this for me, please. The phantom fifth passenger conjured into existence by my learned Eastern friend never existed. The confusion has arisen from the coachman's sly little concierge.
Eh,
Beppo, explain yourself.
I'm terribly sorry, Guildmaster.
Yours fares 4 pence across the board. You know that.
Fuck you, I'm greedy.
Is it bad? I just want to start singing like Wizard of Oz tunes around these two characters.
Am I to understand that you've been overcharging our passengers by a penny a fare? I can't keep consistent.
It's so cold, and the last run of the day is always half empty.
You have been dishonest, coachman.
Shit. I'm sorry.
But someone has to pay for my whiskey.
Slappy. You're a disgrace, Beppo. A disgrace.
Well, fuck you too.
Well, fuck you, man. And your selfish actions have brought dishonor on the entire guild. I point my thumb at you, sir.
If I may, sir. I had to pay 10 pence on the bus just last week.
What? 4 passengers at 5 pence each is, yes, 20 pence. I've done the arithmetic 10 times already, but I just can't make the result come out differently.
No, that figures. Well, it would appear that one of the aforementioned misgivings has already been explained. So, counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, if you please. We've already had the pleasure of a protracted summation examination today.
Shut up, you racist bastard.
I see you intend to continue the parlor games. Oh, yes, sir. I'm all for games.
Me too. And I'm just subconscious, and I'm all for games.
Oh, I love games. They're so fun.
Exactly.
So when did Marzipan come into the action?
Well, as long as the games involve deleting things, I'm all for games as well.
Will the audience be quiet?
As long as I get to be the coach of the games, I'm for it too.
I got the concession stand all ready to go. Absolutely. All right, this should be a pretty easy one. We're gonna get there some. Now, I would wonder what type of parlor games would it be back in those days. It would probably be darts or something. I'm sure they had pool back then too.
Cards.
Oh yes, my husband and my wife, we all play Texas Hold'em.
Oh, I thought you were game be strip poker.
No. We vampires don't play those type of games. Earlier you testified that you saw the moment when the defendant allegedly stabbed the victim, didn't you?
Oh, yes, that's right.
You said that the victim was on the floor and described the assailant holding the knife in an ice pick grip.
Yeah, damn it, so good. I suppose I might have, yes, put the cart before the horse, maybe.
What's this?
Well, I'm quite sure about most of it. I was driving the horses when I heard a scream from the seats on the roof deck.
Oh, I expect that was me, sir.
That's when I turned around. Yes, I saw it through the skylight. Yeah, bullshit. You were driving. The gentleman was on the floor, and the knife was sticking up out of his midriff. That's right, yes. And the fellow holding the handle, the famous man, yes.
So, in short, you didn't see the moment when the victim was actually stabbed at all?
Shit. I really thought that I did, but when I go over it again in my head, no, I suppose I didn't actually see the precise moment of the stabbing I did.
Whoa, what's he doing?
That steak tasted good to you, bub?
Nom! Nom! Nom!
Hey, damn, did you have any lunch?
Nom! Nom, 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 nom.
Guys,
Num 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 num.
how
num,
flexible is that? How's that cane flexible? Like what?
Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay?
Now you listen to me. I know what you're thinking. He didn't really see the exact moment as the fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that? Eh?
The fuck
Are
would I
you
know?
asking me or telling me? He's getting flustered.
Damn.
I might be able to extract some new information from him if I answer him cleverly. Could he have just happened to see the exact moment the crime was committed? Well, it is a little hard to believe, certainly. Unless you spend your time peeping through a skylight on the top of an omnibus, that is.
Hey, I'm a respectable city banker. I'll have you know. And I know what I saw. I remember as clearly as a baller rat die. It was a grim scene. I don't mind telling you.
Thank you, Mr. Fairplay.
Oh, excuse me. I was getting a little hot under the collar. There, my lord.
I would ask you to supplement your testimony with a clear statement about exactly what you saw.
Without chewing on your cane.
Oh, I can do that all right. I'll tell you how just grim it was.
Okay, I was looking up the term for parlor games. It has like different kinds. Like Aesop's Mission, Blind Man's Bluff, Fictionary, that kind of thing. Or as a metaphor, it's used to accuse political opponents of using deliberately nebulous or confusing language when describing their positions of issues.
Thank you. Well, let's add it into the court record.
Objection.
Blood-soaked hands?
Well, I admit soaked might be laying on a little thick butt. But anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it.
Well, I'm very sorry to disagree, Mr. Fairplay, but that's more than a little peculiar.
What?
Here are the gloves worn by the defendant, Mr. Gilden, on the night in question.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And there certainly does appear to be a sizable dark-colored stain there. But, as I'm sure you can clearly see, it's only on the right-hand glove.
Ah!
No.
Kinda like
This came
metal
down.
singing or
He's gone metal on us.
Nom 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 nom. Nom 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 nom.
In short, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony is inconsistent.
God! What? No! That can't be right!
So you're the liar here then.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit.
Granny got her stuff out.
That's right. You were quite clear about it. You said, "Rawr!" It was both hands.
Okay, there he goes using the knife.
What are we doing having a fucking like
The-
chewing? What the hell's going on with my characters?
I mean, this one's over here bending his hand and then chewing on it like he's trying to bite down on a very
I think
big.
he's trying to break it. He's trying to break its cane. I wonder what kind of material that sucker has to make it bend just like that, and hasn't snapped yet.
He has the strength of Lieutenant Commander Data from Star Trek. He can bend metal. Mr. Fairplay, if your last statement was a lie, it calls your entire testimony into question. You say you saw the moment the victim was stabbed, but is that really the truth?
Grah! I.
Objection!
It was a simple mistake. You can't justify accusing this man of lying. Yes, it wasn't both hands. It was only one. But the fact remains. The victim's blood was on the accused.
Objection!
No, Mr. Fairplay categorically stated that he saw blood all over both hands. Which means there's a strong possibility that this witness was deliberately trying to mislead the court.
Grah!
Munch, 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 munch.
Why? I'm a city banker. That's pit, for pity's sake. My word should be the ghost stander.
Yeah, while you're trying to deep throat your damn cane over there.
Not some gutter snap. Upstanding members of society don't fabricate.
He's claiming to have no reason to lie. But is that really the case?
Mr. Naruhodo, if we had some evidence to explain why Mr. Fairplay might be lying, it could turn the tide in this trial completely.
Something to show this man has a compelling reason to lie in his testimony. My lord. Yes, counsel. The defense is ready to present evidence. By Jove! Are you sure?
And he just blew his mind and flipped his wig.
Yes, evidence that will clearly demonstrate why Mr. Fairplay had reason to lie in his testimony.
Grah!
Very well. I hereby call on the defense to present its evidence. The evidence that demonstrates a motive for the witness's alleged deception of the court. This portfolio must contain all sorts of secrets of London's gentry.
Oh dear. Do you really think we ought to look inside?
Well, it's not as though we know any of London's gentry personally, is it? Apart from our great detective friend, perhaps. Actually, I wonder. And I know what you're thinking. My name is not anywhere near that ledger. Fuck you.
I assure you, we will not find Mr. Sholm's name inside.
You're
How
damn
dare
right.
you imply that?
Please, give him a
Imagine
Sasato
he's in the
throw
bed
for me.
smelling-
I'm surprised Chris hasn't met Mr. Sholmes yet.
Please, give him a Sasato throw for me.
Yeah.
Wow! And there he goes, right into the steel cage!
What the fuck do we have wrestling here?
Guys, we gotta go. I am not feeling well right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright,
We'll
bye.
take over.
Alright, feel better.
Alright. Bye.
All right.
So,
Well,
what about
I guess I'll do the
Chris?
granny voice. Wait, is Chris gone too?
yeah.
Guess I'll do the granny voice.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
Well, let's see what we can find.
Ooh, fancy handwriting. Gosh, it's crammed full of gentlemen's names, isn't it?
Well, I suppose they're probably not all gentlemen at all, are they? After all, not everyone in this country is well off.
Ah, goodness.
What is it?
Look at this. Do you see the name here?
Bruce Fairplay. Should that mean something to me? It does sound strangely familiar, actually.
Bruce Fairplay, the witness testifying at this very moment.
Oh, yes, of course, the banker. Why is his name in here? Ah, he borrowed 20 guineas, did he? And look, the repayment date is fast approaching.
Ooh.
Ooh. It's possible that this is just a coincidence, of course, but this could be very useful information.
And my name is not in there, I assure you. This is a list of the debtors who owe money to Mr. McGilded. Yes, a list of innocent victims crippled by the accused's extortion. The point is, among the names of these debtors is your name, Mr. Bruce Fairplay. Grr! What? Mr. Fairplay, are you currently indebted financially to the accused?
Oh, shit. Here we go.
No, well, it's barely worth of being called a debt. According to this ledger, you owe 20 guineas. Not an inconsiderable sum of money, wouldn't you say? Arg!
He's a pirate now.
Well, what of it?
Do what you want, 'cause
Let's suppose Mr. McGilded were to be found guilty of murder. What would become of your debt in that case? These documents state that the loan agreement is forged between two individual parties. Therefore, were the creditor, the defendant here, to be sentenced to a capital punishment, all outstanding debts which were owed to him would be annulled. They would cease to exist.
Cease to exist?
Mr. Fairplay, is it not the case that you claimed in your testimony to have seen something you never in fact saw? In a devious attempt to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the defendant? Grr! Garg! Order, order, order! Mr. Bruce Fairplay. Yes, my lord.
Stop playing with your food. Granny's gonna give you a whooping.
We use... I thankfully use a fork and knife at my house, even with canes.
Well, good for you, Sonny. You want a cookie?
Chocolate chip, preferably.
Oatmeal raisin.
I can live with that. I'm a vampire.
Let me ask you again. And be aware that your answer may have most serious implications upon your future, sir.
Grr.
Did you or did you not see the precise moment in time at which the defendant is alleged to have thrust a knife into the victim?
Your silence speaks volumes. You did not tell the truth in your testimony.
All right. Now let's not make a melodrama out of this.
Damn motorcycles.
Perhaps I did overstate the truth a pinch.
A pinch?
But it makes no difference. I definitely remember seeing blood on McGilden's hands. Both of them.
And yet, only one of the defendant's gloves, which we have here as evidence, is stained.
Grr. So you keep saying.
I wonder if I might be allowed to speak, sir.
Go ahead, Mr. First.
Well, the thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself as it happens. Seeing what? The blood, sir, on the assailant's hands. I think, yes. I'm almost sure that it was on both of his hands, not just one.
What?
What? Ow.
Oof. How?
It would appear that we're going to need further testimony from all you witnesses. This time, I would like to know precisely what you did and what you did not see. Do I make myself perfectly clear?
Yarsh!
Mr. Naruhodo, that motorcycle person is a douche, are they not?
Yes.
I can agree to that. And as your subconscious, I agree with you too.
Okay, they would be so a chaotic pair, like Sherlock Holmes and Homestar Runner.
This is good news. The course of the trial seems to have shifted slightly at last.
Yes. I might finally have a chance to turn things around here.
There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters.
I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attackers' hands with blood on them. I didn't actually see anything myself. No, not until I heard that scream.
Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or we all would have seen.
Even his brain is fried from trying to check that out, getting that all processed.
Well, lo and behold, in truth of fact, not one of you was witness to the crucial moment the crime was perpetrated.
I apologize, my lord, but honestly, arg! There was no one else inside that carriage, and the man's hands were covered in blood. Grr, that much incriminating evidence is tantamount to saying we saw the man do it.
That's really not what testimony is about.
Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more.
The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the witnesses' accounts. In other words, there is no substantial nor significant change in the facts of the case.
Very well. Your cross-examination, please, counsel.
Yes, my lord. Well, this one's again easy. Shouldn't be any problem. I wonder how many bite marks are on that cane by now.
Probably too many to count. You'd wonder if it's gonna be. I guess I can't remember what material that's probably used for it.
Well, we'll find out eventually, maybe.
Yeah.
And everything you saw of the incident was through the skylight on the roof of the omnibus?
That's right. It was fiercely cold that night, but the glass wasn't frosted over.
Oh, yes. I remember I was shivering. It was so bitter.
Which rather begs the question of why the pair of you were sitting on the roof deck in the first place.
Well, I don't know about this young fellow, but I couldn't enter the cabin.
Oh, why not?
It was locked from the inside. I tried knocking, but no one opened the door.
It was locked?
That's right, and it's a public bus service for pity's sake. That's not what I call fair play.
Yes, I had exactly the same experience. I tried knocking, but the gent inside just gestured at me to clear off. So I had no choice. So I had no choice but to climb up to the roof deck and look down longingly into the warm cabin below.
Well, I can assure you I wasn't just looking down, I was glaring, long and hard. And that's precisely why I can tell you with absolute confidence that if there was anyone else at all in that cabin, I would have noticed.
Unequivocal, I would say.
I'm not sure about these two witnesses. Could they really have seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight? Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You are riding this omnibus and witnessed the events in the cabin through the skylight in the floor of the upper deck. Is that right?
That's right, yes.
In that case, there is a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight from you.
What?
By golly, really? Obviously, at this stage, we can't say for sure. But the possibility cannot be denied that at the time of the incident, there could have been another passenger in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus.
Objection!
Enough hypothetical meandering, my Nipponese friend. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here, in the flesh. Very well. I will uphold the prosecution's demand.
Oh, the inflection on that reminded me of the whole thing, like this speech SpongeBob did, where it's like, in the halls.
In the hall.
All rules will be enforced in the court. You will identify the area on this cross-sectional plan of the omnibus. Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting that this potential extra passenger could have been situated?
Take that!
Both rows of seats on the roof face in the direction of travel, whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other, which means the visible part of the cabin which passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylight is as I've drawn here.
Oh!
That's right, my lord. As you can see, The seat opposite the one on which the victim and his attacker were sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible that these witnesses would have been completely unaware of it. Darg!
Objection!
It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. You Nipponis have a forbidding habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity. Ambiguity. My bad. I concur with the prosecution's rejoinder. In a British court of law, evidence is paramount. I cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel. That is, unless you're able to put a name to this mysterious passenger to whom you allude.
Can you, Mr. Naruhodo?
I honestly don't know. Who could it have been? Who could have been in the other seat, which was out of sight from the witnesses on the roof deck? I understand, my lord. The defense would like to put forward a name. Wine time.
And now he's got himself a backup.
You are a fool. That response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitations. A toast to hard lessons not yet learnt. Let us not delay, counsel. The defense is still to name the passenger in the other seat. Ow.
Just like...
This could be it. This could be the chance I've been waiting for to turn the trial in my favor. On that night, on the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin that was obscured from view was...
Take that!
Wait.
The passenger in the enclosed cabin with the witnesses on the roof deck failed to see has to have been Mr. Magnus McGilded. Mr. McGilded?
What are you talking about, counsel? That's the name of the defendant.
Objection!
Did you screw up?
Oh,
Oh.
he threw it
Yikes!
right. He threw it right into that fire. That would have set the courtroom aflame. That's alcohol.
What the fuck?
If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hollow chalice, do forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Zeeks!
How many freaking cups does this dude have?
A lot. He's like Godo with his cups of coffee. Instead of coffee, it's 17 glasses of wine.
But like, okay, sorry, I had to say this. I don't know why, but the hairstyle and like, it looks like he has like scars on his face. Kind of remind me of that one guy from Kingdom Hearts. You know who I mean, right?
No.
Let's see. Is it people from Organization 13?
Yeah. Except the hair's a duller blue color.
Let me look it up real quick.
People talk of those tiny island nations in the Far East as having a learning and culture of their own. But I see they use the terms ill-advisingly. What are you trying to say?
Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand. When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to the fact. It's the very premise on which this case is built.
Objection!
But that premise may be wrong. What? If the victim really was sitting beside Mr. McGilded, it creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way.
What inconsistency, counsel?
The defendant's gloves, my lord. Hmm. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claim that there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim.
Objection!
Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears the gory remains.
Objection!
The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance. Yes, their testimony remains unchanged. Exactly. They both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memory of events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. It was somebody else sitting beside the victim that night, a third party we have yet to identify. And the victim's blood was on that passenger's hands, both of them.
Objection!
And who was this third party? Obviously, the true culprit. Extraordinary! Order, order, order! What exactly are you postulating?
Objection!
The defense's postulation is just that, nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated that they saw the accused.
Objection!
But when elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats and I couldn't exactly make out their faces.
Yes. The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I could see the rest of them, though.
Yes, that's right. Both gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters do intend to notice such things, sir. And what particular styles of hat did the two gentlemen sport, Mr. First? I'm afraid I don't remember. And you call yourself a hatter?
Okay, he's mad as one, though.
The style of hat
Uh,
makes no difference. There was no third passenger in that cabin. How can you be sure? Because if there had been, the accused, Mr. McGilded, would undoubtedly have offered to dispose the fact. Unless, that is, you are proposing an even more preposterous explanation. That the accused failed even to notice the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled. Ah!
Okay, I figured out the name. His name is Sykes. Did I hear
Yeah,
you talking
that
about
guy.
Sylph?
Yeah.
I'm not. I haven't played. I'm not really particularly a fan of Kingdom Hearts, but I've heard so much about it from friends.
Yeah. Only played the third one, stupidly jumped into that.
I tried to play the first one because my ex-boyfriend had a game, and I couldn't really get past the first part where they're on that island.
Ah.
If there was another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus, it's inconceivable that Mr. McGilded would have been unaware of it.
Bless you?
Huh? Bless you again? Oh
Bless you.
god, it's a sneeze attack.
Sorry.
If you were Vince McMahon, he'd be like,
There's no sneezing in this company.
You can't help what comes out, damn it.
Order! There is clearly a simple solution to this problem. Bring the accused, Mr. McGilded, to the stand. Well, what say you, counsel? The prosecution objects, my lord. On what grounds? As a suspect, he will have already made a full statement to the police. But But what if there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely? Magnus McGilded is no uneducated ruffian. If it indeed turns out the man has been withholding information, you could be sure it will have been a most deliberate act. Jesus Christ. How many motorcycles go by in that area?
Too many, I think. At least it's better than, I'm saying one of the best things is about that is that it's better than having the sound of a train.
Well, unless it's Thomas. Then there's the difference. Counsel for the defense, what is your opinion? My lord. Should we ask Mr. McGilded to testify or not? Yes, we need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. The defense would like to call Mr. McGilded to the stand. In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury.
Oh, yes, I need a little time to consider this.
If you ask me, I think we should hear from what Mr. McGilded has to say.
Get the man out here, I say.
You want me to do number 4 as well?
Yeah.
It would be utterly illogical to not to hear his testimony.
When something needs done, get it done. That's how I run things at the guild.
Okay, Yosemite Sam.
Hearing what the patron of my favorite little podcast has to say, oh yes, that will be lovely. Yes, the jury says the man must be heard.
Very well, the court will hear the defendant's testimony. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once. Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear. Let proceedings be resumed. Mr. McGilded, have you been listening to the discourse of the day?
To be sure I have, my lord.
There are now 2 matters on which the court desires to hear from you. The first is whether or not there was a third party with you in the omnibus cabin as opposed by the defense. The second is that if such a person was indeed present, why did you conceal that fact from the police?
Begad, no. 'Tis not my nature to hide anything at all.
Just answer the questions, please.
The truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all along. Do I tells you all, or keep me mouth shut?
Tell us what, Mr. McGilded?
The fine fellow representing me is absolutely right. In the carriage on the night with myself and the other man, there was another passenger.
It's true?
Aye, and 'twas me who helped the little urchin get away after it all happened.
You...
What?
What? Ow.
So he's an accomplice.
No, Magnus McGilded. That convenient excuse can't save you now.
I'm truly sorry, so I am, Lord Van Zeeks. I'm sure you'll be wanting to know why I said nothing when I was taken in by the police. I do be having a very good reason, I assure you.
Which was?
Well, the little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time and not in any way involved, you see.
What?
What?
If the police had known the wee one was there, they'd have assumed she'd done it. They'd have hauled her into this here courtroom just like myself. I was only trying to spare her that. Young hearts and young minds are easily damaged, my lord.
And who was this young child of whom you speak?
That, I don't know.
You don't know?
Aye, well, the wee ting just happened to be in the carriage that night. I never saw it before or since.
Objection!
We have absolutely no reason to believe this man. The prosecution calls for the witness's statements to be disregarded by the court.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the urchin isn't here in this courtroom as we speak, listening to the proceedings. What?
What?
Ah, smoke! Ah, there's a fire! Someone's trying to get away! After them! It's no use! What is going on?
What the fuck's going on?
Be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Cover your face.
Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus. I hereby call an emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom.
Whoa, what just happened?
We were hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff. Amid scenes of chaos as people stumbled over one another in their desperation to flee the chamber. We had no idea what was happening. All we knew was that, for the time being at least, the trial was suspended.
Since when did we have a terror attack?
Just now.
So we got, like, a terrorist organization popping up about.
Or maybe just one. So yeah, we're gonna have to leave it there then.
Boy, this one's as short as the second one.
Well, no, the second one was, well, the one that you were in on, that lasted about, what, 30 minutes? Like, during the second part? So, yeah, this one was a short one, for a trial, at least.
Yeah.
But, yes, we got terrorists throwing smoke bombs, and now we have to try to calm everything down before we get back in there, so it'll probably take a week to get everything cleaned up, and then we can get everybody back in there. So, until the next time, if you're going to have your spaghetti, make sure if you're going to have it naked, if you need to add a little bit of something to it, just add a little bit of butter. That's all. It's like it's going to do you some good. So, for
Gives
me,
a little bit of a flavor.
yeah, exactly. So for me, Sylph and Mooney, and for Circus and Chris, who had to leave early, we thank you all for listening and watching, and we'll be all here next week for another exciting adventure of the Great Ace Attorney. Farewell, everybody. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.